Before we start though, there are certain things that you need in your toolkit. And the first of these is going to be your stainless steel pins. Now they have glass heads to them, so that in case you ever mistakenly iron over them, they won't melt and stain your fabric. You'll see we have this magnetic pin cushion so we can easily pick up the pins. Everybody should have a tomato pin cushion too. You'll see that I've marked mine for the various sizes of needles. And let's not forget that the strawberry has emery in it to keep your needles and pins sharp. Let's get a seam gauge. This is just a metal hunk, a little slider that tells you how to measure small things like hems. And then we'll need a chalk pencil. We prefer the chalk wheel. It makes some quick and easy marks. And a water-soluble marker. This is for light fabric. You'll use this for dark. Transfers information from your pattern to your fabric. Let's find ourselves a point turner, curved on one side, flat on the other. Never use your scissors to sharpen up the corners of pockets or facings. And I know you'll never make a mistake, but just in case, let's get a seam ripper for some reverse sewing, and make sure it has a nice sharp tip so you can really get underneath those stitches. We'll need a needle. I know a lot of folks think you never need to change a sewing machine needle, but I do every time I start a new project. No need to ruin the project because I had a dull needle. You'll see that these are universal. They're stainless steel as well. Universal just means that it's good for most all fabrics. And the number is 80, that's European size. 12, that's American size. That's right in the middle. Size 6 is small for fine fabrics like silk. 16 is thicker for heavier fabrics like denim. So we're choosing a size 12 right in the middle. Today we'll put in a zipper, so we need to get some Washaway Wonder Tape, 1/4 inch wide, and this does indeed wash away with the first laundering of your garment. It's double-sided sticky tape, very helpful for those zippers. When it comes to cutting, let's get ourselves some good quality stainless steel scissors, knife edge blade. 8-inch blade there. Use those strictly for your fabric. All-purpose shears, again 8-inch blade. You'll use those for paper like your pattern. And for good thread hygiene, let's get ourselves a pair of nippers. Cut those threads just as soon as you pull that garment out of the sewing machine. I like to keep mine on a leash because it's just terrible when you can't find your scissors in the middle of a project. We also have our tape measure, 60 inches long by 5/8 of an inch wide, because that happens to be the standard home sewing seam allowance. Very handy for quick measurements. When it comes to pressing, and yes indeed you will be pressing every time you make a seam, let's start off with our ham, wool on one side, cotton on the other. This will be used for your cotton fabric, and most everything else will say this for the wool. And doesn't it look just like an Easter ham? If you're doing fine things, you might want to step up and get yourself a seam roll. Again, wool on one side, cotton on the other. And we swear by the clapper. It's a piece of hardwood, oak or maple, for pushing the steam into the seam. You may also want to step up and get a sleeve board. This elevates your pressing away from your mat, and we like to use a press mat that's just muslin and wool on top of a piece of plywood. Helps you press big things. Press cloth, we'll talk about how to use this later, but it's just a hunk of muslin or other cotton that isn't printed or colored. And of course the main thing for pressing would be your iron. Make sure it has a lot of holes for steam, so you can get a lot of steam into your project.